Sorry about that, guys. Didn't mean for that to happen. That's for sure. Okay, dokie. Let me do a few things here real quick. Sorry, I'm running a little behind, but I did want to get this in for you guys. Felt like I needed to, really, to be honest with you. Let's go ahead and switch over to that. Let's do yeah, get that. Okay. Do I have a 5 for 5? You guys got me now? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I had to hook this up just a little bit different than what I normally do. I've got an expander for my Wi-Fi signal, and the reason why I am, well, thank you, Anna. I'll relay that message on to him. My signal here is, I got really good Wi-Fi. Okay, I'll just put it to you that way. But I can't be very far away from the modem. It's or the router, whatever you want to call it, motor and route them now. But I've got an extender. I have to hook it up, and because of my wife's school, my wife's schooling, I tend not to try to mess with it until she gets a break. Because if I try to mess with the Wi-Fi and I jack something up, oh my gosh, yeah, I'll be sleeping on the couch for a very extended amount of time. Um, so that's just what I'll say there. But yeah, so I tell you what, we did get guys. If you guys watched my stream from yesterday, let me say this, and I don't say this to be boastful or anything else, but I would challenge anybody to go out there and find somebody else that was telling everybody that we most likely is going to see at least a G2 out of this. We've got multiple ones hitting us, and I told you guys I wasn't for sure because I couldn't be. It's impossible. It's impossible to be for sure, especially when we have so many eruptions, and they're still happening. Okay, we've expected this. Okay, this is not something that we did not expect. We've expected this kind of activity. This is something that we've talked about for a very extended amount of time. Now let me scroll down here and while I'm talking about this, because this is valid. This is what we need to be looking at. Sunspot number. Okay, notice this is their forecast. This is solar cycle 25, right? And I would encourage everybody, and I mean everybody, to come over here to this website. It's NOAA, Space Weather Prediction Center, and it's the, matter of fact, I'm just going to do this. Copy. Let's put it here. I put it in the live chat here. I guess I could have asked one of the mods to do it for me, but anyway, it's there. There it is. Please come over here and check this out. The majority of the stuff that's like critical stuff that you really want to look at to give you a good idea if you think something's happening or something's just going on that you want to check out just to keep up with the conditions. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the better hubs to come to. And let me explain what that hub means when we're talking about this on the websites. When you come over here to Space Weather Prediction Center, NOAA, you're going to find that it's going to take you to different websites. It's going to take you to different pages all over the place, right? What they've done is they've taken all those pages and they've put them here, all in one place. So when you click on it, it takes you there, right? And I'm not sure if NOAA actually will take you outside of NOAA's website, but it'll take you to different hyperlinks and things like that. So please come over here and check this out. It's very important to me to be able to get you guys to be able to look at this for yourself. Because I don't want you guys to have to rely on me for this stuff. I don't. My goal has always been to show you guys how to do this, how to look, and to give you a little bit of an idea of, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Give you a little bit of an idea of what is actually, what can be happening and why it's going to pan out the way that it is. All those things, right? So, I just wanted to point that out. So, let me I will be, let me, I'm sorry, guys. Is that, I am sorry. Something's Yankee here. I have to come here and look at this real quick. I'm sorry. That should already be there. That's weird. I wonder why that's not there. Huh. So we'll just back off and go to that, and then I'll pause it. Because I don't want to, I want to make sure that I'm keeping, okay, you guys can hear me then, right? Okay, yeah, you guys got me a 5 for 5, right? I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical issue here. Guys, I'm actually sitting on my couch, and I hate doing this on my couch. I have a pretty good studio in there, not really a studio. I have a corner of a room. I guess it's a studio if you want to call it that. I got a pretty good mic and stuff that I've been able to acquire. But I'm on the couch today because I'm sitting close to the modem. My computer's starting to get old, all those kinds of things. Hurry back, Trish, hurry back. We'll wait on you. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to keep moving. I was just kidding, by the way. So, anyway, yeah, I liked my own videos. Y'all see that? I think people are crazy when they don't push the like button on their own video. I think it's nuts. Why wouldn't you? But anyway, so let's just keep moving here. So, to the, I get a lot of different opinions. I do. And I love the opinions. I really do. But the goal of this channel has always been to be able to get you guys to come to these particular websites. And as I'm learning, I'm able to show you guys, right, how to get there. I show you what buttons to click, right? Because I get it. When I first started doing this, I was completely lost. I really was. And you know how I learned? But just watching. I didn't really need anybody to tell me, right? I was watching where they were clicking and where they were going. So I made that the goal of the channel at the beginning. Now, it still is. It still is the goal of the channel, right? But there's other goals now, too. I want to give people a better understanding. I want to give people a way to where they can trust themselves. And that's what we're doing here, right? So, with that being said, the sunspot number. We've been talking about this for years now, right? Solar maximum. We are in solar maximum. This is the peak. This is the start of the peak. Okay? And again, if you guys come over here to this website, you'll be able to look at it for yourself. Now, if you grab this down here, watch what happens. You can move it back and go look at older sun cycles. So, I did that for a reason right there. And let me show you why. You can even extend this out like this. Okay? These are, you see the peaks and valleys. Now, a lot of people don't even know this thing exists. Right? And those same people will be the ones that are going to tell you that things are all jacked up when they're really not. Okay? And that's just a fact. That's a fact. If you can go back and historically look at something and see that it happens in a cycle or a pattern, how could you not say that that isn't something that can be expected? And it ain't just a one-off thing. We're talking cycles repeating itself over and over and over and over again. Okay? So, we talk about the Carrington event, right? That's really when solar flares and CMEs, that is when they actually got separated. Okay? They used to think it was all one and the same. But when Carrington and I can't remember who the other guy was that was doing that also at the time, when that happened, they were looking at the sun and they were able to catch it, right? So if you can grab this and you can go back to 1859. Okay? See what I just did there? So 1859 is when? That's solar cycle 10. Right here. Okay? So now that we're back there, we can look and can we make any comparisons to where we're at now? This is what I do in my spare time. If you want to call it spare time. I start to compare what happened in the bigger sun cycles when we had the bigger events to what we've got going on now. And then if I see something that kind of relates, I'll start looking at the sun cycles between, before, and after, and to see if I can myself catch a cycle that maybe we're not aware of. Now, I have no illusions of thinking I'm ever going to be able to catch a cycle that they don't already know that's there, right? But it gives me a better understanding when I'm looking at these things. So that's why I do it. And I want you guys to do the same thing, because until I did those kinds of things, I didn't understand space weather the way that I needed to. And at some level, I made myself look kind of crazy. Not at some level, at every level. I look back on some of my earlier content, and to be honest with you, I'm embarrassed of it. Some of it. Because I got some things just completely, way completely wrong. Because I just didn't understand it. Now that I understand it, but the difference here is, guys, when that happened to me, when I noticed I was doing that, what did you guys see me do? First thing I did was, I came out here and I told you guys, hey, I jacked that all up. Don't listen to what I said there. Please don't listen to that. I was wrong. And then, the very next thing I did was explain to you why I was wrong and what the real answer was to certain things. How things work. Okay? That's the responsibility that I've taken upon myself. And I think that everybody that has a channel that wants to come out here and talk about these kinds of things needs to take that responsibility on themselves. Don't expect your subscribers to be able to look at everything that you are. You're choosing to do this, content creators. This is something you're choosing to do. So don't sit there and look at your subscribers like they're dumb and stupid and they not do this and do that and expect them to go, I hear this all the time. You need to go watch all my videos before you could come ask me a question. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on. Hey, baby girl. Hey, that's my daughter in there. Check her out right there. Avery with the hearts. That's my baby girl right there. Hey, Mark. Good to see you, Angel. Jerry. Now, and let me say this. We just got through watching Star Wars. So, yeah. I'm a bit hyped up. I'm a Star Wars junkie, and so is my daughter now. She loves it, which is very surprising to me, but I have enjoyed watching the first 3 with her this weekend, so it's been pretty cool. But yeah, and her name is Avery. I know it's spelled Avari. Her name is Avery Grace, and what that means when you spell it like that means a gift from heaven. So that's why we named her that, because she truly is a gift from heaven. I promise you that. But anyway, as is all my kids. But my oldest son took my name, by the way. Anyway, okay, so I am sorry. I should be doing the space weather thing. I do apologize. So anyway, sun cycle 1859 right here at Carrington. Okay, can we make any correlations? Now, when you guys first start looking at these, what you're going to see, thanks, Sean. One thing I noticed, right off the bat, as the sun cycle itself was starting to peak, and this happens in almost every sun cycle. I want you guys to check this out, because I didn't notice this until, I don't know, and maybe I should have noticed it before, and maybe somebody even told me it was that way. I just don't remember it. But you see a double peak. You see back here in 1847, you see this peak here in solar cycle 9, then it drops back down and you peak again. Go to solar cycle 10, same thing. Not to the level that was, because the sun cycle itself wasn't as busy. Go over here to sun cycle 11, same thing, 2 peaks. What do we got going on now? Let's come over to current. Look, peak, peak. And why I'm calling them peaks is because you see a major drop-off after the first one. So, what we're left to do here is to wonder, where is the first peak? Right? Now, we can get a good idea about how many years into a sun cycle that happens by looking at the other ones, but it's not exact. So, looking at this, is this our first peak? Or is our first peak going to be up here? Because if I'm going to judge by this over here, by the year, it looks like we got some more growth to happen here before we hit our first peak. That's just my observation. So you guys do what you need to with that. And I will say that they were off in their forecasting, which is whatever. It's a very hard thing to forecast anyway. They haven't really hit these numbers at all. There's a few scientists out there that actually went against the grain and said, hey, this is going to be more active than normal, than what was expected. Now, let me take you guys back here to some of the very, very active, because, and I want to show you guys this because I see people really, like, saying some of the things that we see are just, we've never seen this stuff before. Well, you know what? We have. I hate to say, and I know it sounds like I'm just like blowing things off. I'm not. But if I'm going to say that something's way out of abnormal and wonky, I'm going to have something to back it up. Right? So let's go back here to solar cycle 19. You guys see that number right there? That says 300. That's what that top line is. How many did we get that sunspots that year right there in October 1957? 359. How many what's the maximum we've had in the past 20 years? Let's go look. Okay? Not even close. That's 284, and that was back in 1989. We've not even been anywhere close to that. But what do you hear people doing? Saying, oh my God, look at all these, this, that, and that. Listen, guys. It is an uptick. Okay? It truly is. It's an uptick. But is it something we've never seen before? No, we've seen this multiple times. This is historic data, and we can prove that. So I need somebody to prove to me where the sunspot number itself is off. You're not going to be able to do it because it simply just isn't there. Okay? Now, but this is just sunspot. This is just saying how active the sun is itself as far as how many sunspots we see. Really, what we should be interested in correlation with this, is the actual radio flux progression. What this is going to show you is the intensity of it. Okay? So when you look at this and then you start running this back, the only problem with this is, guys, we haven't been able to track this data back as far as we did sunspots. Okay? As you can tell here, I think this stops in like 2006. They didn't start recording this until right around 2006, 2005, 2006. Okay? So we're not getting too much there. But you can see clearly that solar cycle 25 is more intense than solar cycle 24. But check this out. Let's scroll back up here. Grab this stupid scroll bar. Okay. So if I move that forward a little bit, what are we seeing here? Okay. The intensity is up. Is it in a good ratio compared to what we were seeing here versus sunspot numbers? Yeah, it kind of is. So why am I even pointing that out? Well, because we expect to see these things. Okay? Now, I'm going to say this. We expected to see big flares in 1859. Well, we might not have expected it, but we do now, right? We know it's a thing. Is that going to stop how powerful the sun is just because we expect it and it could be normal? No, it's not. That's why we still talk about this. Because it's important to be aware. It's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. When we're going to get a big one, our technology's not going to be there, and that's why I do this. So I want you guys to understand that. But I'm not going to come out here and scare somebody by telling them that we're seeing stuff that we shouldn't. Because we should be seeing this uptick. And that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing an uptick exactly how we would expect to see it. Now, Can it step out of the norm at any given time? Absolutely. Okay? The difference about what I'm talking about right now and before, we have to start factoring in, we are in the midst of a magnetic pole reversal. Our magnetic field is weakening. That nobody can argue that. That is happening. Mainstream will tell you that. Alternative will tell you that. Everybody will tell you that. Now, they're going to differ on how much. But let me tell you, it's happening. So why, if you knew it was happening, why would you just sit on your hands? That's my question. You know, I could be gone after all this, before any of this even starts to happen. Right? But why would I wait? Why would I take that chance? You know, I'm going to make sure that I'm okay and my family's okay for anything. Big snowstorms, hurricanes, volcanoes, tidal waves, whatever you guys want to talk about natural disaster-wise, that happens all the time. Is it influenced by the sun? 1,000% yes. Okay? That is why, when we're looking at this stuff, we come over here and we look at the geoelectric field model. Again, USGS and NOAA is working together on this one because they're using it to forecast. And what you're seeing here is it's just another way to show you that geomagnetic conditions are directly affecting geoelectric conditions. It's exactly what should happen. So when we start seeing this stuff get intense, I mean, what do you think? I mean, it's just what's going to happen. I'm going to refresh that real quick and see if we can't get some new data there. But yeah, and this is elevated. So anyway, now let me go back up here. Actually, I have to shut these run tools while they're running, because if I don't, my bit rate just drops out and it really just is all Yankee. You guys see what happened there? See that magnometer? Went crazy, didn't it? You know, we don't oftentimes see what happened this time, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, first off, let me point out 24-hour maximum observed. We've had an R1 radio blackout, which is a flare. That's a low-class M flare. Basically, nobody knew it happened. Okay, you might have had some small interruptions on the day side with some communications, but most people didn't even, 99% of the world didn't know that even happened. But this is a G2. If you guys remember, go back and watch my previous video. And nowhere on this chart did they say G2. Well, we hit G2 right away. Huh? Really? Wow. So, what I'm saying, guys, we went from nothing on the KP. Look at this. Nothing. Like zero. Like, if we hit a zero like that and we stay like that, we're actually at risk for cosmic ray bombardment. Did you guys know that? I've talked about that before. So when we're in like a solar minimum and we're really, really low in geomagnetic activity, cosmic rays get in more. That's why everything has to be a balance. We don't want like zero geomagnetic activity. We need to have some. And I've said this, anybody that's been with me for a minute is going to hear me say it again, that the sun helps protect us from the sun. Right? It's kind of what it is, right? And again, guys, I'm not sitting here trying to say we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that. It's just not what I'm saying. So I hope you guys get that. I really do. Because I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to say, hey, we shouldn't be paying attention to this. And I don't want people to think that I'm like saying, oh my God, we really need to pay attention to this. And I'm not going to tell people that. I just will not. Okay? Because I can be wrong. I'm going to give you my opinion. And when I give you my opinion, I'm going to tell you when I do. Okay? So just kind of know that too, all right? I'm not ever going to come out here and start screaming things if I don't think it's going to happen. And that's one of the other reasons why I refuse to put dates on things. I've got my own ideas. I've got my own theories. I would be ridiculous to sit out here and try to pretend like I didn't. I mean, you guys get what I'm saying there? I mean, truly. I hope you guys do get what I'm saying there. But at the same time, I want everybody to understand that it's okay to have an opinion. I also want everybody to understand that it's not okay to come out here and scare the crap out of people. It's not. What good does that do? It's all it's going to do is it's going to harm people, because eventually they're going to stop listening to you. And then when something big does happen, again, you're crying wolf. And just, it makes me so, it upsets me really bad when I hear and see those things. It really does. So please, guys, anybody out there with channels, operate them responsibly. And here's the thing. I want you guys to go watch everybody. I truly do. And on that note, guys, you guys need to get over and check out Trinity. Trinity Red Pill, Blue Pill, High Oak Kermit the Frog here. She chases down some conspiracy stuff and some, UFO, what are they now? UAPs, all those things. And she really ties things together, and she does a really good job of it. It's good stuff. Go check her out. And a lot of other people do the same kind of thing. But I think she does a really good job, and she's getting better at it too every day. I can see it. So please go check her out. Hey, Verte, good to see you, bud. So anyway, let me stay with this space weather, because I'll be getting rammed in the head if I don't. One thing I want to point out again, guys, look, we went from 0 to 100 here. Look at this. I mean, we went from nothing, like no geomagnetic activity, to a G2, like snap of a finger. So why did that happen? And if you really want to get technical here, let's take you over here to the German site. Look at this. You see this right here? This is a 30-minute data collection. What you're seeing here is a 3-hour average. Okay? So that's the difference in the charting. They're pretty much getting the data from the same places. I mean, similar tools and everything. But if we come over here to the German site, and we'll zoom in here, I want to show you something. Because it's important to know this, that this is actually how it works. Okay? So if I scroll over, and I go down on the 24th here, see that? What's that line right there? That is the initial smack on our magnetic field. Okay? What did it do? It actually reached G3 level. And you wouldn't know that unless you came over here. Because this isn't going to show it to you. So that's why I'm showing you both tools. Okay? Does it matter? It could. Especially when we go from 0 all the way up that quick. Okay, when that happens, that means we got smacked pretty good like. And our magnetic field most likely was not really ready for it. We've been kind of bouncing around and flushing out particles and everything since last week. And, and when that does happen, when things do hit, if they hit at the right time, with the right polarity, most certainly we can see these things, and that's what we're seeing. Now, I do look for these geomagnetic conditions to continue. I think we're going to see some more here in the next couple days, because we've had some more eruptions. We've had so many eruptions that they're having a hard time forecasting it. It's pretty obvious. Okay? So anyway, this is the NOAA model. And I'm going to go ahead and play this because this is different from my video yesterday. They changed it. Look at this. You see this? Look what's happening here. It's different, isn't it? And that's why we come back and check every day. Okay? This model here will give you 2 days historic data, and then it will give you 5 days out in advance. Okay, they try to forecast out 5 days. It does not do a good job 5 days out. I'm just going to say it. And I don't think really many people think that it's very accurate. I don't even think NOAA thinks it's going to be that accurate. I think it's just a starting point for us to look at. And that's not such a bad thing, because they do. They come in here and they'll change it every time the data changes. You guys see what's happening here? This is a top-down view. This is a side cut. These are the same three that I showed you guys yesterday, and I think there might be another one in here, one or two in here. But you see how you see this little choppiness right here? That's because there's so many eruptions happening. I believe there were 2 in that front one. Like just back to back. So, yeah. Back at you, Katia. Appreciate you. But so, as we're looking at this, you know, what do we expect? I mean, look. Those ones that fired off there just to our, what would be, if you're looking at the sun, it'd be to your right, which is actually reverse of east-west. So it would be to the west of us. You watch these that fire off here at the beginning. Watch them catch up with one another. First off, that one fires off pretty quick. There was a small one there, and then this one fired. I mean, yeah. So, and the difference here is, guys, this was happening on the backside. I told you guys that about 2 weeks ago. And now that part of the sun is facing us. Look how fast that thing caught up. Now remember, when we're talking about like a cannibal CME, it does not eat the CME in front of it. Okay? It actually, they don't even combine really. Okay? What happens is you get a piling effect in between the two CMEs. But they get the one behind it's moving so fast, it's so close, it seems to be one CME on the tool. Now, when we look at the data, we can tell, because you'll get 2 separate shock fronts that hit. Okay, so it's not a true just one. It doesn't ever become just one CME. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't eat the one in front of it. It looks like it does. It's just a poor name that they gave it, to be honest with you. You get a snowplow effect, one in front moving slower, one in back moving faster, and just like if you take a shovel outside in winter and just put it on the ground and push it, it rolls that snow, right? If the snow's the right consistency anyway. It'll roll that snow and it'll build up and build up and build up until you hit the wall in front of you. That's what happens. So you get these big smacks. That's why cannibal CMEs can be very, very intense. Because you get that dense amount of particles in the front there, and the one in the back is moving faster, right? So most of the time you got increased speed at the same time, which is not usually what we get with like coronal hole streams. Usually when something is moving faster, means it has less density, and vice versa. And we see that in the graph. Okay? So let me I'm going to pause that and while I'm talking about this. So I got you over here. This is the Discover data. Right? So let me zoom back out here. This is where we talk about the BZ, right? Look what happened. It's pretty obvious to see, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious when you see almost solid lines here, and then all of a sudden, bam. Remember what I said? We look for -6, and I remember also what I said about if it does get even further down than -6, how much more easy or more particles it's drawing in, because opposite polarities attract one another. So how far did we get here? Let's see what we got. -27. How you like that one? That's an impressive number, to be honest with you. I've seen it that way before, but it's impressive. Okay? It really truly is. That's a low BZ. That's all I'm going to say. That's a very negative BZ position. So, look what else happened at the same time. Okay? I want you guys really to look at this stuff when you guys go over here, if you do. Please go over here. Please, guys. I really truly want you to. I don't want you to have to believe me. I want you to go there checking what I say. And if I get it wrong, I want you to come back and tell me I was wrong. Okay? And I'm being serious when I say that. The second you think you know everything about any specific subject is the second you stop learning about anything on that subject. So you're no longer open to what anybody else is saying. You might be sitting there nodding your head and acting like you're listening. But you're not, because you, in your mind, you think you already know more than that person talking to you. Don't get yourself into that mindset. Be confident, but not arrogant. Okay? Have some pride, have some patience, and be willing to be wrong, and be willing to admit it. This is why we stop growing if we don't. Right? I mean, we have to be able to do these things. We have to be able to admit those things to be able to continue to increase our knowledge on what we're talking about here. I've got so much more to learn. I do. I really, truly do. My goal here, like I said before, show you guys how to look at these tools and give such a very basic, elementary amount of knowledge and understanding of what we're looking at. Because for the most part, that's really all you need to get through life, right? When we're talking about this. And the people that really want to dig into it and get really into it, I encourage that, because it does give you a continued amount of understanding. So please continue to do this. That's what I suggest. And that's why I learn from you guys all the time. Excuse me. I'm not sure if Leah's in here or not, but she says and does things over on Mars all the time that I learn from. There's things that she sees, like when she's modding and stuff over there, that I don't see, or I'm seeing from a different angle. Trinity, same thing. Jammer, everybody else here, Trish, Tommy, over on TLB, the lifeboat. I mean, just be willing to be open to what people are saying. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so you got your density, boom, right? It went up there pretty good. That density, that's a high density, guys. That's 40. Close to 40 there. And then the speed, it didn't really get to 500, which really isn't that fast. 3 to 500 is what we would consider normal. Now, and that's just showing you that you don't necessarily need high speed to get a hit. And vice versa. You don't necessarily need massive amount of density. Okay? High speed can cause it on its own, and so can the density. Coupled with the BZ being in the right position, taking the hit exactly on the nose. This is why these things are hard to forecast, and I know I keep repeating that, but we need to understand that. So, this is the magnetosphere, and it's going to look way different than it did yesterday. I'm going to stop right here on this pressure one. What I tell you guys yesterday? I said, when we come look at this tomorrow, what's going to happen around the Earth? It's going to be covered and surrounded by red, right? Ain't that what I said? Look at it. I knew it was going to. I didn't know how much, but that's pretty impressive. That's a lot of magnetic pressure, guys. Truly is. Truly is. Now, let me go up here to the density, and as you're going to see the density, same thing. Remember yesterday, this particular model was all white. What does that mean? The white is low density. The darker blues are high density. Which makes sense because what? The density shot up. See here? See, this is that number 1 I was showing you guys yesterday. See, it's 100 up here now. Yesterday, this was just 1 to 10. And everything I showed you guys in my premiere yesterday, or this morning, was under 1. Now we're looking at that. So that's why you're seeing this. They're confirming each other. This is giving us a visual. That's all that this is for. Okay? It's not giving you really any data points. It's taking the data points and giving us a visual representation of what our magnetosphere is doing. That's the goal of the model. Okay? And again, that's a lot of pressure extending out, guys. And I do like Timothy Scove's analogy of a slinky. Because our bow shock and our magnetosphere really truly is like we're in the middle of that slinky. Okay? It's not like a straight line or anything like that. And I also encourage you guys to think about this as a boat going through water. Because it really is very similar. We even call this a bow shock. That's what do you guys call it when you're out in the water? Right? It's the bow, right? You're moving forward. That's what happens. It's pushing it to the side. And the bow shock is the point of where the solar wind or CME's space weather hits our magnetic field. And I went through that yesterday. I'm not going to go through that again today. But there you go. Now, all right, so I got you over here at seeds, and this is the 24th. So I'm going to push start here, and you're going to see some more eruptions. Now, this eruption here, these here, I'm not so sure that this is going to get us, okay? It kind of went off to the right there. It looked like a double flash there. I'm not sure if it jumped time or something. Most likely it did, okay? So let me pause it there. Let's go back to the 23rd and check this one out. Okay, now you're seeing just a couple eruptions there. So when did the majority of the eruptions start to happen? Back on the 22nd. That's what's getting us right now. Okay, this is the one I kind of pointed out yesterday. Look at all these. Okay, so kind of, you know, again, go back 4 years, go back to solar minimum. We would be lucky to see one of these eruptions every 2 or 3 days. Happy birthday to whoever's got their birthday in there. Anyway, so, again, now, something else, I do want to show you guys this. Let's go back to the main page here on seeds. Now, see right here, that's Soho. That's where that satellite sits. This is Earth. Right there. Satellite sits right there, always looking at the sun. Stereo A, notice they got this thing over here. It's actually not right there right now. It is actually here. Trinity! Trish in the house. Oh, yeah. Diane, good to see you. Piper Lynn, Surgery, good to see you. It's differently than many CMEs we have already have been enduring. Ian, you know, I think if you're talking about how it actually makes you feel, like your body, I think everybody is different. And I think that our health actually affects how it affects us. Right? I do. I truly believe that. And well, I mean, there's data to prove it. So if you're not feeling well and then these things start hitting, it can really bring you down. It can give you headaches, make you feel real lethargic, make your joints hurt, make you nauseous. I've heard that, you know. Hear a lot of like tendonitis too when the Schumann's getting all messed up. I think I seen the Verte in here too. I think I said hi to him. Hey, what's up, Christian? Good to see you, bud. But yeah, so when we're feeling these things, and this is exactly why we talk about space weather, right? Because when we get hit with stuff, that affects everything else. It affects the Schumann. That's one of the biggest things I could talk about. It really is. When the Schumann's all jacked up, we're all jacked up. That's just a fact. There's a reason they pump that resonance into the space stations and for people that work underground in the mountains and stuff. If they don't put that resonance there, 7.86, they go crazy. People go crazy. They get sick. It affects people's hearts. I mean, you could go on and on and on and on forever when we're talking about this. And I've talked about this a lot. So, you know, and it truly does. It affects you. Well, I'm glad you're getting something out of it, Ian. I really am. I'm glad. I like it when people kind of connect like that. It's, you know, and you would learn a lot, Ian, just by listening to what, you know, everybody else in here is talking about. Because they talk about the biological stuff a lot more than I do. And they're very, you know, my chat, you know, the Wages World Family chat here is just on top of it when it comes to that, specifically that subject. And they care and they'll take the time to talk to you. Hey, Nacho. Hey, what's going on, Axe? Good to see you guys. There he is. What's up, Shum? What's going on, birthday? Man, you wear the heck out of that hat, too, by the way, just so you know. Anyway, so let's look at Stereo A. I told you guys it used to hang out way over here, right? So we could get a backside look at the sun. Not anymore, guys. That thing has outlived its lifespan. They're going to send it back out from what I understand. But right now it's hanging right around us. They brought the satellite close to Earth. So let's take a look at that. And that's why you see all these messed up signatures. Okay? But it still does give us confirmation because it's as if this is in the same position as Soho as far as perspective. It's kind of looking at the sun from the same line of sight, if that makes any sense. It's not as close to the sun as Soho is, but it's still looking at it from basically our point of view right now. Once it gets back out there, they'll be able to get the transmission and the data transferred back to the hub the right way, and this will go back to more of a normal thing. But it's still confirming what Soho is saying here. You see that eruption right there? That's a pretty decent sized eruption. So, Aurora. This is for my girl Ilea right here. Okay, she loves these Aurora, and so do I. She's got an Aurora app on her phone, from what she told me. And it tells you, like, it gives you a ranking 1 to 9, 1 to 10 or whatever on how likely and how intense the things are going to be. And it went to a 10 the other day, and she said that was the first time she'd seen that. So that means something to me because I'd never heard her say that before. So it meant that we were seeing Aurora that we typically wouldn't. And it was going to happen. So that's what's going on. Hey, Stephanie. So, yeah, guys, I mean, you're going to see this. The Aurora is one of the main things we can look at to show that we're getting geomagnetic activity. And let me say this, too. Guys, if you're in an earthquake-prone area right now, please just pay attention, okay? A lot of times after these eruptions hit us, soon after, you'll see an uptick in seismic activity, okay? It isn't necessarily immediate, but it does. We got to understand that everything means energy in means energy out, right? So, yeah. Oh, you getting a Faraday box? Yeah, Faraday boxes are pretty cool. If you're trying to, like, protect for, like, EMPs and things like that, EMP shield, go over to Marfugo, guys, and use his code. And those EMP shields are really cool. They're easy to hook up, too. You can get some good protection out of those. Anyway, I'll move on from that. Sorry. So, what can we expect? This is geomagnetic storms, right? So if we're in a G2, what do we expect to see? Well, you guys can read that, and I've said it 1,000 times. High latitude system fluctuations. High latitude means closer to the poles. Mid latitudes, where the majority of the population of the Earth lives, because it's the best climate. It's more moderate climate. And then you got your equatorial latitudes, which is obviously the equator of the sun, or equator of the Earth. That's where it's hot. So when I say high latitudes, it doesn't mean moving north. It only means moving north when you're in the northern hemisphere. If I say you're going to go to high latitudes in the southern hemisphere, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to go south. Hey, Kathy. Virginia, good to see you guys. So, G2, again, guys, corrective actions to orientation may be required by ground control for some of the satellites that are up there. What happens is, especially when you see this dense stuff, when you see this density really, really increase, what you're going to notice is that it causes drag. This is actual mass, guys. These things are actual, they have mass. It ain't light. Okay, it's not X-ray. These are particles. So it's a satellite. You got to think of it like, oh, let's do it like this. Maybe you're walking through the desert and you see a sandstorm off into the distance, right? So you start walking. You just keep walking your course, and then as that sandstorm gets closer and closer to you, what's it do? It continually gets more and more intense, adding more sand to the air and wind. It starts to slow you down, right? That's the same thing here with these satellites flying through the air there. Or flying through space, I should say. More particles you add, it slows them down. So they got to steer them back into place. So I hope that helps people understand what they're talking about when they use the word drag there. Now I know most people understand that. And at any time you guys feel like I'm talking down to you, I promise you I'm not. I'm just trying to make it as understandable as possible for people. Okay? I'm not going to come out here and throw a bunch of word salad at you. Anybody that's been with me for any length of time knows this. I will not throw word salad at you. I'm not going to come out here and use a bunch of big words you guys can't understand. And if I ever do that, you better stop me and call me out on that crap, because I don't mean to. I can sit here and talk about this subject with the biggest of words with anybody. I just choose not to because it's not productive. It's just not. So, anyway, so that's what you can kind of expect. If it gets into G3 like it did for a minute, we can see, stuff happening. And also, guys, you come back over here, and we'll stop. We'll end it on this one here. I do want to show you the electron count, because everybody usually knows what electrons are, right? I mean, that's the flow of electrons is what electricity is. When it jumps from one to another, electron leaves one atom to another. Okay, and the flow of that is electricity. So when you got increased electrons, what's that do? You see this? You're going to see increased lightning. You're going to see this overall increase of electricity in the air. Research Tesla just a little bit, and you'll figure out this really, really quick. You can get electricity out of the air. And they proved it. There's actually a special on Netflix for it, showing it. They stuck some stakes in the ground, had 2 Tesla coils, and they were getting electricity out of the air to the point where it was shocking things. So, yeah, it can happen. And if you research that out a little bit, I'm not going to get into it because it just takes forever. But yeah. So now, I'm not going to take you over to SDO because there's no sense in doing it. I'll show you the extreme ultraviolet here, the 195. This is GOES 18, I think. Nope, GOES 16. Okay, this is 195 angstrom, which is that part of the light spectrum. They could have put whatever color they wanted on this. The 195 angstrom is not this color, officially. Okay? You can put whatever color. All it is filtering out that light so we can see specific gases. That's what we're looking at. What's the 4 states of matter? Solid, liquid, gas, plasma. What is plasma? Charged gas. That's it. It's gas that has a negative or a positive charge. Okay, that's what plasma is. And that's how the stuff gets here magnetically. And that's why we talk about geomagnetic conditions. Those kinds of things. See how it all kind of plays together? So when we're looking at this, it just gives us a visual representation. The colder stuff here on the sun will show up in a darker color. That would be your coronal holes when it gets really, really dark. Okay? And when it says coronal hole, why do we see it dark there? Well, the corona is the atmosphere of the sun, right? So what happens? You get a hole in that, it exposes the surface of the sun. Okay? The surface of the sun is colder than its atmosphere. Wrap your brain around that. If you can figure that out 100%, somebody please shoot me the answer to that. They sent the Parker SP out there, that satellite that kissed the sun, trying to get some data and trying to figure that out. They got some really good theories and some really good data back on it. But, there's no concrete answers or anything, but they do have a pretty good idea. Also, I get this question asked a lot. How can we tell what's going off the backside of the sun? Okay, well, we can look here, here on seeds. Well, it's actually LASCO C2 from the SOHO Observatory. Okay, the satellite's 1 million miles closer to the sun than what we are. Right, I want to show you right here. And if you see this eruption around this disk, this black disk, if it encompasses all the way around it, that's an actual physical black disk on the camera. Okay? So when you see that halo signature, we don't know if it's coming at us or going right off the back. So we have to look at a side view, and that's where stereo A came into play. But because of its position, we don't have that any longer. So they're using seismic activity on the sun to map out where the sunspots are on the backside. And they're getting good at it. So, just so you know, it's an awesome new technique, and it's really cool. So we do get a pretty good idea now when things are coming around. You get a big one on the front side, a lot of times it'll survive all the way to the back. Okay? Not always, but that's kind of what we're seeing here, because I do think one of these sunspots was there already. Oh, goodness. Okay, so here's the sunspots, right? I'm not going to play it. But when you get positive and negative mixing with each other, it makes them unstable. And that's when they start erupting. So, yeah. Look at here, guys. See? Look how long we're staying in this. See, we dipped out of geomagnetic storm levels for a minute. When I first started the stream up, look, latest observed. We're not in the storm level right now. We were bouncing around up back and forth. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. All right? And that's what we're going to do. So, but anyway, guys, I am going to go ahead and pop out of here. If you guys have any questions, please shoot me an email. Guys, please go support everybody that I talk about all the time. I'm not going to take the time to name everybody this time. But please come back to this video and leave a comment. I don't care if it's just a hi, a heart, or whatever you guys want to put down there. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to get back into the algorithm. Okay? When you don't put out content on a consistent basis like I was for a couple months there, you kind of drop out of the algorithm, and your growth kind of stalls. I'm not here to not have people hear what I have to say. You know what I mean? The overall goal isn't to grow the channel. The overall goal is to have a better understanding of space weather in a positive way with the most minimal amount of fear we can do it, right? So that's my goal here. But in order to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, to make people and help people understand those things, is one of the biggest thing I can look at is how the channel's growing. Because if it's not growing, then I'm either not doing something right or something's going on, right? So that's why. So please come back and leave me a like. Like the video, share it, turn on your notifications. I am posting almost every day. Trinity's going to be on with me here in the next week or two. Hey, back at you, Redneck. Oh, Raymond Jackson, love your brother. Hey, Ricky. Good to see you guys. So, but yeah, guys, so I am going to go ahead and pop off. I love my daughter. She was in here in the chat. If she's still here, I love you, baby girl. Yeah, and sorry for the kind of haphazard way I had to do this on the technical end of it, but it is what it is. So, anyway, guys, God bless. Yahusha saves. And, yeah, you can drink this Kool-Aid.